morning, everyone. We're going to start standing up today. So to begin with, come up and place your feet hip distance apart. So how I often describe it is the top, these frontal hip bones, the top of the iliac crest is going to be in line with the big toes. Or you can bring your fists together. That's a good measurement I do in a lot of my kids' classes as well. And that's the measurement between your feet. Have a little look at the toes, just make sure they're pointing forward. So the feet are parallel. And we're going to lift the toes up and keep them there just for a few moments, okay? Turn the hands, palms facing forwards, standing tall, feeling that lift through the feet. We've still got the toes raised. And a lift through the crown of the head. So we're standing tall. Maybe tucking the chin in just a few millimeters. If you know you tend to stick the chin out a little. That's just going to bring a little bit more length to the back of the neck. Still keeping the toes lifted, spreading the toes. Just allowing the rest of the foot, the soles of the foot, to settle into the ground. Gently pop the toes down onto the ground and notice how that changes the positioning of your legs and your feet. Lift the toes up again. And you may notice the legs are engaged a little bit more. So we're trying to keep that feeling of engagement through the legs as you pop the toes down. Sometimes it helps to imagine you're gripping a block or a balloon between the thighs. That may just bring a little extra lift through the arch and the soles of the feet. Notice the weight distribution over both feet. We're looking for that to be even and balanced. Notice if you feel there's weight in one foot more than the other or one side than the other. And I have to talk about the four corners of the feet. So the point just at the end of the big toe, or just below the big toe I should say, at the end of the little toe, and two corners in the ankles, heel. Grounding through the feet, finding that balance. If you can this morning, breathing in and out through the nose. Closing down the eyes. Or maybe taking the gaze a few feet ahead of you to the floor. And connecting with the breath. So noticing the breath, listening to the breath, feeling the breath. As we're standing, you may feel it more fully. Still keeping the feet engaged. Strong, stable Tadasana, mountain pose. We're going to bring the hands to the belly, and we're going to start with our sectional breath. So you're welcome to keep the eyes closed. I'll talk you through this. The sectional breath in yoga is making sure the breath is reaching each part of the body, each part of the torso. So with the hands on the belly, directing the breath there. That sense of touch will help the body guide the breath. Noticing the hand rise and fall as you inhale and exhale. And then we're going to take the hands to the lumbar spine, so the lower back, the palms The hands will be pushing into the lower back. There's an openness in the shoulders, and we're directing the breath into the lumbar spine here, the lower back. This doesn't always come easily. Our bodies often forget how to breathe. When we bring our breath consciously into the body, it's a reminder of where the breath should be going. It's only a small movement in the lower back, but enough for your hands to sense it. Gently taking the hands and popping them on the front of the rib cage. So with the little fingers, you're going to feel the end of the rib cage. And taking the breath there, so breathing into the hands, expanding the rib cage outwards. Check in with your feet, that weight distribution through the feet. Encouraging the knees just to have a very gentle softness to them. Try not to lock the knees here. And lift through the soles of the feet. Keeping the length in the spine as we expand the rib cage. You feel the hands rising and falling. Gently taking the hands towards the back of the rib cage now. It may feel a little awkward, so just making it as comfortable as you can. Encouraging the shoulders to soften. And just become aware if you're pushing your belly forwards. Just keeping that back, keeping that length in the spine, the length in our Tadasana pose, and breathing into the back of the hands. Now here you may notice a much bigger breath, a much bigger movement. So over half the breath that enters the lungs goes into the back of the lungs. And as we're standing this morning, you may feel the rib cage towards the back of the body, expanding a lot further, a lot more than it was at the front. And then we're taking the hands up to the collarbones. And using that sense of touch to guide the breath. And get a smaller movement. But using the hands to guide the breath to expand the upper chest. Using the breath as an anchor. If the mind wanders at all, bringing the mind, the focus back to the breath. And then finally, we're going to take the hands over the shoulders. You may want to cross the hands. You may want to take them behind, Just working wherever you can. The hands are at the top of the, sort of bottom of the neck, the top of the shoulders. So working with your shoulder mobility here to guide the breath from the top of the back. It's likely to be a very small movement here, maybe just felt the fingertips. You may not feel anything at all. And then gently bringing the hands back down to the sides of the body. The palms are facing forwards. We're still in our strong, tall mountain pose. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. Remembering that sense of touch with the hands and directing the breath into every part of the body. Gently tucking the chin and opening the eyes. Leave the chin tucked in to the jugular notch just there. Just stretching through the back of the neck. Again, as it's a morning practice, we're gently waking up the body. Bringing the head back up to center and dropping the head to the gaze towards the ceiling. So not taking the head back too far. And gently coming forwards. We'll take our gaze over to the right side. And maybe it's enough just to look parallel to the shoulder, or if you want a little bit more, taking the gaze over the right shoulder. Coming back through center and over to the left-hand side. Coming back through center, and we'll take the right ear to the right shoulder. So we're working through the movements the neck are designed for here. So avoiding any huge neck rolls. Maybe dropping the left shoulder a little to increase the stretch. Not forcing it, just allowing a softening of the muscles. Coming back up center and dropping the left ear to the left shoulder. And gently coming back up to standing. We're going to use a walking movement to walk the hips. I'm going to turn side on so you can see. We're going to lift one leg, it doesn't matter which one you start with, and raise the opposite hand. So I've got my left leg raised at the moment. My left hand is behind me, my right hand is in front of me. So we're taking a sort of slow walking movement. I'm feeling a bit wobbly today. Try and find a drishti point, a set point in front of you to stare at to help you balance. Raising the knee a little bit higher if you can each time. So we're getting into the hip flexors here and a little bit into the psoas muscle. Working with the breath, just ensuring you're breathing here. There's a sense sometimes of holding the breath when we're trying to balance. And doing one more on each side. So raising the knee up a little bit higher if you can. And coming slowly back down. We're going to do the leg raises and take them out to the side. So again, I'll quickly demonstrate. Feet are about hip distance apart. I've got my hands on my hips. I'm going to raise my right leg, take it out to the side. Now that's as far as it will go in that movement. So I need to tip my foot back and take the knee back round. So the knees end up meeting. And we can come back at the same angle, bringing it forward, dropping the foot. We're just going to do 2 on each side. So we're raising the knee, taking it out, Encouraging the foot to tip back and bringing the knee round to meet the other. Coming back the way. So we're rotating in the hip joint here. This is not a movement our bodies are often asked to do, so it may feel a bit strange. It's also a balance, so remembering to stare at something, bring the gaze to something very still, and once again on the other side. And bringing it down. Give the hips a bit of a shake. Maybe a figure of 8 if they're feeling a little bit stiff. Just working into some movement. We're going to raise the arms. So again, keeping the feet about hip distance apart. Softness in the knees here. I'm going to reach up through the hands. Reaching tall. And very gently taking a side stretch over to the right hand side. So reaching through both fingertips. Trying to avoid the collapse of the chest still facing forwards, almost reaching up to the ceiling. Coming back up to centre and going over to the left hand side. Reaching through, encouraging the chest to stay open, the shoulders away from the ears. Slowly coming back up to centre and dropping the arms back down. We'll wake up the spine, the back a little bit here. So we're going to hunch our shoulders forwards and bring them back. And we'll work with the breath here. It's a sort of version of cat-cow. So we're going to breathe in to take shoulders back and down. Maybe take the gaze up to the ceiling. And we're breathing out to curl the spine around. It's like we're taking the shoulder blades apart, punching the back over, taking the gaze to the floor. Breathing in to allow the shoulders to roll back and down. Breathing out to hunch over the spine. So working with your breath and at your own speed, we're going to do 5 more like this. Looking up a little bit further if your neck is happy to do so. If you want to bring the arms in a little bit more, you can raise the arms up and out and take them all the way down as you curl the spine round. So in the morning, it's really important to gently wake the body up. The muscles contract overnight and they've not had time to warm up yet for a full yoga practice. Once you've done your 5, we're going to come into our forward fold, our Uttanasana. So placing the feet, as we did at the beginning of the class, thinking about the parallel feet here, and the hips facing forwards. We're going to breathe in and raise the arms, the palms are facing inwards, and as we breathe out, we're folding forwards, imagining the heart is reaching forwards. So we're folding from the hips, bend into the knees, especially at this point in the morning. If you can feel tightness in the back of the legs and the hamstrings, bend a little bit more. Wherever you are, allow the head and the neck to relax. You're aiming for the sitting bones to reach up to the ceiling. And the hands can either rest on the mat if they're there, or you can take hold of opposite elbows and allow the top of the body to hang. Take a moment to feel the weight distribution, your body weight even over both feet. Encouraging the shoulders and the shoulder blades down, back where they belong. Double check the knees haven't fallen in, they're still tracking almost above the ankles. And then to come up, take the hands onto the hips. We're going to bend into the knees, push into the feet to bring the body straight back up. Fantastic. We're going to come down to knees, come into our box position for cat-cow on the floor. If you need a bit of padding, now's the time to grab some. Maybe a blanket or a towel on the knees. My knees are often sore in the morning, so I'm coming down onto my blanket just to give myself some padding. To begin with, think a little bit about the hands. We really want to have a good grip with the hands. So if the wrists are feeling sore this morning, know that you can make fists instead, or come all the way down to the elbows. Those are the two alternatives. Otherwise, we're spreading the fingers. Take a moment to spread the hands under the shoulders. So middle fingers roughly pointing forwards, and the weight distribution between and over the hands is even. So just notice if there's a tendency to rock into the thumb or little toe side of the hand, and gently encourage it to find that balance. So we're going to do very similar movement as we were doing standing up. Inner elbows are pointing inwards. We're going to breathe in, looking forwards, tipping the belly towards the mat, and breathing out to curl the right spine round and look towards the knees. Breathing in to come forwards, tailbone up to the ceiling, belly towards the floor. Breathing out to arch the spine, take the spine up to the ceiling, push into the hands, and take the gaze to the knees. So working with your breath here, we're doing 3 more. We all have very different breathing rates, different patterns. So just working with your breath and remembering to breathe. Coming back to neutral spine, maybe sitting back for a moment, taking some wrist rolls, relieving any tension in the wrists there. I'm going to remove my blanket. And we're going to come into knee plank. So the hands again are under the shoulders. And you can see if I'm coming to a full plank, I'm just dropping my knees there. So you may use that as a guide. Thinking about the hand position, spreading the fingers, inner elbows are pointing inwards, feet are relaxed. Shoulders away from ears, belly button to spine here. Taking a couple of breaths. And gently pushing back into an extended child's pose. So this is where the big toes come together, the knees are wide apart. Coming to wherever you can. If there's tightness in the knees or this feels quite tough this morning, know that you can roll up a blanket or have a cushion behind the knees to give you a little bit more mobility there. Coming back into that plank position. Hands under shoulders. Very simple, easy plank, belly button to spine. It's strengthening the shoulders. We're getting to the trapezius muscles here as well. Encouraging the shoulders away from the ears. Belly button to spine, remembering to breathe, keeping the neck in line with the spine, keeping the neck safe. And then from here, bringing the big toes together, pushing back into an extended child's pose. So there's a V shape with the knees. Knees are wide apart. Maybe creeping the hands forwards just a touch to come into that slightly longer stretch in the sides of the body. And then gently we're going to come up into a forward fold. So placing the feet, take your time. We're thinking about that hip distance again. Toes are pointing forwards, knees are bent, neck and head are relaxed. Sitting bones are reaching up for the ceiling. And we're going to sit into chair pose, Utkatasana. So sitting all the way back down. Having a bend in the knees, bringing the hands to the thighs to begin with. Shoulders are soft. Just check the knees aren't collapsing in. Have a look, check you can see the toes. The neck is in line with the spine now. Maybe sitting down a little bit further. And we're going to bring the hands up. The arms are in line with the ears. Still breathing. And then gently pushing through the feet to come up and relax the hands. Take a moment to move everything. We're going to come into flying chair. I will demonstrate very briefly and then we'll come through it together. So flying chair, we sit back, we reach through the hands, we come onto our tiptoes, we take the hands behind us, we bring the hands forwards, we drop down and we come back up. It's very strong on the quads. Try and think about engaging the quad muscles here because the knees are tracking over the knees in this, the feet and the ankles in this movement here. So we want to keep the knees safe. It's a case of sort of lifting up the kneecaps, so tensing the quadricep muscles here. So having a go. Toes are pointing forwards. We're in our Tadasana or our mountain pose with the feet. We're going to breathe in, sit back, and reach forwards. So the upper arms are in line with the ears. We're sitting back. We've got the quadriceps engaged. We're going to tip onto the tiptoes, bring the arms back, float backwards, remembering to breathe, and then bringing the arms forwards again. We're still on our tiptoes, and dropping the heels into our static chair position, and slowly pushing the feet to come up. This time I'll talk through the breath a little bit more. So again, finding the hip distance between the feet. Take a moment, catch your breath. Engage the quadriceps, tense those thighs muscles. We're going to breathe in, sit back in our chair. Breathing out to come forwards onto the tiptoes, take the fingers behind the body. Breathing in to reach up through. Drop the heels and push up to standing. We're going to do it one more time. Just making sure these quads are engaged. So that's really key to keep the knees safe. Take a moment, reset, catch your breath. We're going to breathe in and reach up and sit back. Breathing out to tip onto the tiptoes. Take the arms behind us. Breathing in to reach forwards, drop the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing out to drop the heels. Breathing in to push through the feet to come up to standing. Give everything a shake and a little bit of movement in the hips side to side and maybe that figure of 8. You can be strong in the lower back, so just relieving any tension there. We're going to come to a very simple sun salutation on both sides. If you know you'd like a little bit of padding, take a little bit of padding now for the knees, a towel or cushion, rolled up blanket. And just make sure you've got enough space to step backwards. So toes, feet in line, hip distance apart, rolling the shoulders back and down. Finding that length in the spine through up to the crown of the head. We're going to breathe in and reach up, the palms are facing inwards. Breathing out, take our forward fold, Uttanasana, leading with the heart. Bend into the knees, especially if the hamstrings are still feeling tight. Take a moment here, check in with the head and neck, check it's relaxed. We'll breathe in, take the hands to the shins or the knees, shoulders away from ears. We're in a flat back position. The gaze is towards the floor. Breathing out to fold forwards. The right foot is stepping back first, so bend into the knees a little bit further. Take the fingertips to the floor, step back with the right foot and drop the right knee. Adjust any padding if you need to. Have a look at the left knee, needs to be over the left ankle. Shoulders are away from ears. From here, breathing in, bringing the hands to the hips, or maybe coming all the way up, reaching to the ceiling. If the neck is happy this morning, taking the gaze towards the ceiling as well. On the next exhalation, bringing the hands back down, taking the hands to the mat. We're stepping back into a plank position, so take your time to get there, either full plank or plank with the knees as we did earlier. Making sure the hands are flat, the middle fingers are pointing forwards. We've got a really strong Hatha bandha, hand block on the mat or the floor. Inner elbows are pointing inwards. We're in our tiptoes or knees. From here, gently dropping the knees, coming through, dropping the chest and the chin. We're going to come into Sphinx this morning, so the elbows are under the shoulders. The hands are coming forward just a touch. I've got this elbow to shoulder alignment. My hands are flat. Allow the pelvis to feel heavy, the glutes to soften just a little bit. Very gentle back bend here. Encouraging the shoulder blades to drop down the back. Gently come down. Bring the hands to sort of chest level. Tucking the toes, we're coming into our first downward dog. So we're going to move the feet a bit, make sure the hands are shoulder width apart. Fingers are spread. Sitting bones are the highest point here. Shoulders away from ears. And we're pedaling the feet. So just take your time. Allow the head and the shoulder to relax. The head and the neck, sorry. Pedaling the feet, finding some length in the back of the legs. So remembering downward dog is very much about the length in the spine rather than the legs. So pushing into the hands, find that length in the spine. Allowing the shoulders to soften away from the ears. From here, we're going to bring our right foot forward. So take a moment, take some time, stepping the right foot forwards. Check the right knee is over the right ankle. And then bring the left foot parallel to the right. We're in Uttanasana, forward fold. Bend into the knees. To come up to standing, bend into the knees a little bit further. Push through the feet, reaching up to the ceiling. And breathing out, dropping the hands down. I hope that speed's okay. This time when we come into Sphinx, we're going to do a little twist and look over our shoulders. I will talk you through it. Just encourage a twist through the spine. But we'll do exactly the same on the other side. So take a moment to reset your feet. Come into that mountain pose position with the feet. Ensuring you've still got enough space to step back behind you. Rolling the shoulders back and down. Find that space, that openness in the chest to really allow the space for the breath. We're going to breathe in and reach up through the fingertips. Palms are facing inwards. Shoulders are away from ears. Breathing out, folding forwards. Bend into the knees if you know you need to. On the next inhalation, we're taking the hands to the shins, shoulders away from ears. We're in our flat back position. And then we're floating forwards again. Reaching through the sitting bones to find that extra little bit of length through the hamstrings. This time the left foot is going back. So again, take your time to step the left foot back, drop the right knee. Drop the left knee. The right knee is over the right ankle. So again, look at that alignment there, just double check it's safe. If it's overshooting, we're putting too much stress on the knee. From here, breathing in, taking the hands to the hips, or maybe taking the hands up towards the sky, taking the gaze up to the ceiling, if you know your neck is comfortable doing so. On the next exhalation, gently dropping the hands, we're coming into our plank pose. So take your time to get there, either on the toes or on the knees. Either way, belly button to spine, spreading the hands, spreading the fingers. Inner elbows pointing in towards each other, shoulders away from ears. Dropping to the knees if you're not there already, coming through the chest and the chin. We're coming back into our Sphinx pose. So the elbows are under our shoulders, hands are flat. Drop the shoulders away from the ears, maybe pushing into the hands, just to increase the back bend if that feels good this morning. And then we're going to straighten our right arm, so gently straightening that arm and looking over the right shoulder, encouraging the pelvis to stay grounded. Gentle twist through the thoracic spine. It's a part of the body that doesn't get a lot of movement. Gently coming back to center and going to the other side. So this time pushing into the left hand and looking over the left shoulder. So the left arm is reasonably straight. Encouraging the pelvis to stay grounded. And coming back down to center. We're coming into our downward dog, so gently take the chest, the floor, the hands around chest or bra strap level, tucking the toes and pushing into the hands. So dog pose or downward dog looks a little bit like a triangle when the legs are straight. We're going to keep a bend in the knees here. You're really welcome to continue pedaling the feet to find length in the calf muscles, the hamstrings, or come into a static pose. If you're in the static position, encourage a bend, a softness in the knees. The shoulders, the shoulder blades are drawing away from the ears, pushing into the hands to feel that length in the spine. The head, the neck are relaxed. It's almost like the belly button is reaching for the thighs. From here, the left leg is coming forward, so take your time to step the left foot forwards. And the right foot is coming forwards to become parallel with the left. We're in our forward fold. Reaching through the sitting bones, finding a little bit more length now in the hamstrings. From here to come up, we're pushing into the feet, bending into the knees, reaching up and allowing the hands to float back down. Take a moment to roll the shoulders, move the hips if you need to. Hopefully creating some heat through the body this morning with that. We're going to come into Warrior One. I'll demonstrate side on. It's the easiest way, I think, for you to see me. So starting again in our mountain pose feet, the feet are hip distance apart, softness in the knees. We're going to step back with our right foot. It doesn't need to be too wide a stance. The right toes are out about 30 to 45 degrees to the right hand side. The left toes are still pointing forwards and the knee is above the ankle. So you'll be able to see that there. We want to avoid the overshooting. We're encouraging safe knees. And then we're going to encourage the right hip to face forwards as well. There will naturally want to sort of be a diagonal plane there. We're encouraging it, try not to force the hips round. From here, we're going to take the palms of our hands into our lower back. So encouraging the elbows together, a little bit of stretch across the top of the shoulders. Just take a moment to feel the feet, to connect with the feet. The weight is even over both feet. So encourage that weight into the little toe edge of the back foot. Check the left knee is not falling out to the side or falling inwards. It's a strong standing stance. And then gently pushing the lower back, the lump spine into the hands. Going to create a little bit more length there. You can stay here or bring your hands to your hips or raise the arms up. Dropping the shoulders, palms are facing inwards. Warrior 1. Virabhadrasana. It's a strong warrior pose, strong on the legs. Really breathing here. Breathing into the torso. Long breaths, steady breaths. From here, we're going to come into a twist. So we're going to turn, the feet are staying where they are. We're turning to the left-hand side. Palms are facing outwards. Shoulders roughly, or hands are roughly shoulder height, or in line with the shoulders. Mine are always a bit squint. On the next inhalation, coming up. And on the next exhalation, turning over to the right. So as you twist, just making sure the knee is not overshooting the ankle. Breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, taking the hands down and bringing the left foot forwards. Again, making little movements. Feel neat, it's quite a strong pose. And we'll do it all on the other side. So planting that right foot down, stepping the left back. You may often see it as quite a wide stance. That creates a much bigger curve in the lumbar spine. It's okay to do, but only if you know your lower back likes that and feels okay. I'm taking a slightly shorter stance here. Right toes are pointing forwards, right knee is over right ankle. The left toes are pointing out 30 to 45 degrees. Encouraging the hips to face forwards. And then we'll place the palms, the hands on the lumbar spine, the lower back. Encouraging the shoulders away from the ears. Take a moment to feel the weight distribution over both feet. Not forgetting that little toe edge of the back foot. There's often a tendency to roll onto the big toe edge. Pushing into both feet, finding that balance. And then gently pushing the lumbar spine or encouraging the lumbar spine into the hands, finding a little bit more length in the back. From here, either taking the hands to the hips or reaching up, palms are facing inwards, fingertips towards the sky. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Warrior 1. Thinking of sthira and sukha, steadiness and ease, finding that in each posture, each yoga pose. Steadiness, so the stillness, and ease, knowing that you can take those full breaths we began the class with. The breath isn't laboured. From here, we're going to take a twist. We're going to turn to our left-hand side to begin with, reaching through, palms are facing out. Arms are roughly shoulder height. Breathing in to take the hands up, and breathing out to take the hands towards the right-hand side. We're twisting to the right. Breathing in to bring the hands up. Breathing out, bring the hands down, and then bring the left foot to meet the right. Just pedaling the feet a little. We've done a lot of lumbar spine work this morning, so we're just going to ease that off in a forward fold. We're going to do a wide forward fold. So if you've got a chair, table, or sofa, and that's something you want to hold on to, now's a good time to move. Quite a wide stance. Obviously, the wider you are, the further you will come down, but try not to make it unstable. Toes are pointing forwards or slightly inwards. And we've got that lovely length again in the spine. When we fold forward, we're leading with the heart, leading with the chest. Taking the hands to the hips, engaging the quadricep muscles, so tensing or gripping those muscles there to keep the knees safe. Breathing in, breathing out, folding forwards, leading with the chest. So double check the glutes aren't going backwards. There's a tendency for that to happen. So encouraging the chest forwards. The weight distribution hasn't changed in the feet. It's even over both feet. Think about the quadricep muscles. Are they still engaged? They're still looking after the knees.
Allow the head, the neck to relax. If you are near a chair, know that your head can relax on the chair, or the hands can come to the chair. If you've come all the way down, maybe the hands reach the floor. You can use the hands to gently push into the floor and encourage the crown of the head down towards the floor. Shoulder blades are drawing down the back. If you feel you've come too far at any point, knowing that coming up a little bit and maybe holding opposite elbows. To come up, we can come up with straight legs, but make sure the quads are engaged to keep the knees safe. So shoulders are away from ears. We're in that sort of flat back position. We put the hands forward just a little bit. Keep the knees safe, push through the feet to come up to standing. And then wiggle the feet in together. Take a moment there. We're going to come down into upward facing plank, just to create some more openness in the chest. There's really only one way to do this with the legs, but there's a couple of different options with the hands and the elbows. You can come into it like this, or you can have the elbows resting on the floor, the hands are the palms face down spread, and it's a little bit lower. So it really just depends on your wrists this morning. The fingers are pointing towards the glutes. Inner elbows are encouraging them to face in towards each other, shoulders away from ears. I'm lifting up the glutes and I'm resting on my heels. From here, the head can go back, but just keep the neck in line with the spine. If the neck's feeling a little bit weak this morning, you can tuck the chin. Wherever you are, lifting the chest, and now the inner elbows are pointing forwards towards your toes. Breathing here, it's a strong stretch. Pushing through the hands if you're on the hands. Feet can stay flexed. And then gently coming back down and giving the knees a hug. Hug in here to release the lower back. And slowly coming down. We'll kind of come into a forward fold before we come all the way down to lying down on our backs. The left foot's extended, the right foot has come in. If the knee's not liking this, you can keep the knee up, or gently take it a little bit further down the leg. You can also offer some support to the knee here if it's quite high up. You've got some pillows or cushions, something to support the knee, that can really help. Wherever you are, making sure the sole of the foot is not on the knee joint. The left toes are pointing up to the ceiling, so the toes are flexed, that foot is active, and I'm sitting tall. There's a lift. We'll talk about Mula Bandha, pelvic floor, all the way up. Shoulders are soft. We're going to breathe in, reach up through the hands, through the fingertips. Breathing out, folding forwards, leading with the heart. So we're finding that length in the lumbar spine. That's what this forward fold is mostly about. So we lead with the heart, lead with the chest. We find the length in the spine and we bend from the hips rather than the waist. Shoulders drop, keeping the chest open. We're not coming all the way down this morning. Really encouraging the breath here to have the space. And gently bringing the hands back towards the body. We'll swap sides. Again, noticing the difference between each side. Both sides are going to be different. Knees may feel different as well. So I'm bringing my foot here. Remembering you can take it to the calf, slightly softer bend on the knees. Know that you can have some support. Or coming here, very similar stretch. Keeping the knee up, pointing up to the ceiling. So just working out what feels comfortable for your body, how your body feels this morning. Wherever you are, making sure the right toes are flexed, the right toes are active. Reaching up, breathing in.
And breathing out to fold forwards, leading with the chest again, so folding from the hips. Find that length in the spine. Keeping the neck in line with the spine. The gaze is just to the toes or a little bit further, rather than curling all the way around. We're staying up a little to encourage space in the upper chest. It's not so much about where you're getting to, it's finding that length in the lumbar spine, creating space for the breath. Janusirasana. And then very gently taking your time to creep the hands up the body. We're going to come down, come into our knee hug. So gently coming down, we'll do Apanasana rather than just any knee hug. So fingertips pointing towards the heels, neck, head, relax, shoulders down, and drawing in the knees this way. We can get a much stronger stretch, obviously, if we have the hands on the shins, but in Apanasana, fingertips are pointed towards the ankles. It's a little bit gentler. So just rocking a little, bringing the knees in and out. Lots of lumbar spine work today. Relieving anything there. If you want a little bit more, want to get into the hips, you can take hold of the knees to the side and bring them in towards the armpits. Bringing the knees back in, we're going to come into a supine twist. So taking the hands out to the side, if you've got enough space, you're about shoulder level. Palms are facing up to the ceiling or facing down, it doesn't really matter. And then we're going to drop the knees to the left-hand side. So encourage the knees and the ankles to come all the way to the floor, or to some support, whether that's a blanket or a cushion. And once the knees are down to the left-hand side, encourage the right shoulder down. So that naturally wants to come up. If you'd like the full spinal twist, taking the gaze over the right shoulder. Gently bringing the neck, the head back, the knees up to center and going over to the right-hand side. So really encouraging the knees and the ankles to have the support, to sort of restful supine twist. Encourage the left shoulder down and taking the gaze over the left shoulder if it feels good on that side as well. Gently coming back up to center, giving the knees one last hug. We're going to come into a few minutes of relaxation now. So as we've done a lot of spinal or lumbar spine work, you may find that having the feet on the floor and the knees bent feels a little bit kinder on the lower back. Shoulders are soft. If the lower back is feeling a little bit tight or the knees are a little bit tight and you've got something you can roll up, a blanket or a couple of cushions, you can make a sort of raise for under the knees, and that will feel really nice to support the knees. So finding something you can put under the knees here and having the legs out and come into full Shavasana there. If you're in full Shavasana, encourage the shoulders away from your ears and the palms are facing up to the ceiling and there's a little bit of a gap between the body and the arms there. You can, of course, bring the hands to the belly if that helps you connect with the breath. But just finding your most comfortable position, making any final adjustments you need to. So wherever you are, connecting or reconnecting with the breath. We're not working with any pranayama or any breathing exercises now. We're just using that conscious breathing as an anchor, as something to focus on and still the mind. Taking a moment to just do a body scan, checking the heels and the feet, soft, light. Back of the calf muscles, back of the thighs, being supported by the earth, softness around the knees. If you're holding anything in the glutes and pelvis, allowing that to soften, loosen, letting go. Allowing the belly, the freedom to expand with the breath. Allowing the shoulders to soften. The tongue to drop into the bottom of the jaw. Sense of facial muscles spreading and softening all the way to the crown of the head. Listening and feeling your breath. Knowing you can stay where you are for a little longer in the comfort of your home. If you're going to slowly make your way up to sitting, taking very small movements, fingers, wrists, toes, ankles. Gently drawing the knees in, giving them a hug. Maybe there's a full body stretch there as well. And rolling onto your right hand side is allowing the heart a little bit more space. And gently using your hands to push yourself up to sitting. Finding a comfortable seated position and bringing the hands together to heart center. Feeling the warmth between the hands, the energy you've created in the body. Remembering that lovely word, brahmacharya, right use of energy. We create a little bit of heat in the body and some space for the breath. Now I'm going to take my hands up to my forehead to remind us to have kind thoughts, to my lips to remind us to have kind words, and back down to my heart center to remind us all to have kind actions. Namaste.